The Speakmans are here to tackle your fears and phobias in today's phone-in. Let's get straight to our first caller. It is Louise. Good morning, Louise.
Hi, Louise.
Hello, morning.
Morning. Now, Louise, your phobia and fear is quite unique, I think, but the Speakmans will tell me maybe it's not. Tell us a little bit about it.
During probably the last 12 months, I've become really frightened of driving on the motorway and kind of elevated road flyovers. I think I'm going to the side of the road, and it's really debilitating because my children live quite far away. I have to take the train everywhere now, and I can't go to local places where the infrastructure of the road changed, and it's really debilitating.
OK. So, Louise, first of all, Andy, I will tell you that it is hugely common to have a fear of motorway driving. And the issue with the fear of motorway driving is that a lot of people actually seek help for the actual fear of the motorway, when usually it's actually what we call transference. And that means it usually stems from somewhere else. And in most cases, a fear of driving on the motorway actually stems from a fear of heights. So my question to you is, do you have a fear of heights? Are you uncomfortable around heights?
Yes, really scared of heights.
Ah, OK. And let me ask you a question. Have you any idea? Because that's what you've got to resolve. That's the foundation. So what we've got to do is you've got to try and untangle and resolve the fear of heights. So, quick question. Do you have any idea how that started at all? Do you want me to give you some clues that it could be? So common things are roller coasters, fairground rides, being up on a slide, climbing or falling out of a tree, something and it's always when you're little. It's usually when you're quite small, and it's something to do with height. Is anything there ringing any bells?
Yeah, I think I was very little, and I was on a wall, a really high wall, and somebody was asked me to jump down and to catch me. It was too high for me. I'm on the wall. I was being up on a wall.
OK, could I ask a question? Have you thought about that recently, or is that just come through as a memory?
No, it's a memory, literally.
It's just come through as a memory. OK.
Yeah. I can't. Because I was so scared of driving, I've never equated it to height.
Yeah.
Because it's been something I've had for a long, long time.
Exactly, yeah, and that's really quite where I say it's unfortunate that a lot of people have phobias of motorway driving, have therapy for that or get help for that, and they think that they're really broken because it doesn't get any better, but that's just because the underlying issue hasn't been dealt with. So what I would like to ask you, and just to look at that situation, so what we've got to do is we've got to rationalise that situation and help you to see it in a different way. So my question to you is, who actually made you go on the wall?
Just a family member that...
OK, and that's fine, Louise. So the question is, what actually caused the discomfort? Was it the height, or was it the fact that you were being pushed to do something that you didn't want to do?
I remember being up on this wall and looking down some arms, and it felt like I was there for hours and hours, and I couldn't jump.
Right.
I didn't feel safe.
And that's all absolutely fine, but who actually made that feel bad? You didn't choose to go on the wall. You were obviously encouraged to go on the wall. And what I really want you to be able to see this as, Louise, is that the height didn't orchestrate that situation. Yeah. This was encouragement by other people. The height just exists, but the height never did anything to you. The height didn't grab you. The height didn't pull you down. And heights are actually, they're innocent in that they don't actually cause the problem. Yes, we have to be careful around heights, but the actual height will never grab you and pull you down. So what actually caused the problem was the family members. Does that make sense?
Yes.
OK, so when you can see it in that way, that will start to help with your fear of heights. And that's what I really want you to concentrate on. I really want you to say, actually, no, the height didn't do anything. And I'd also like you to appreciate the positives of heights. So the fact that we can, that we're not overpopulated because we've got apartments and high buildings, and also the fact that those bridges that you've struggled to get over actually take you to your family and loved ones. So I want you to have a little think about that, and then I'm going to give you a call after the show, because I'd like to speak to you a little bit more, just to make sure we've definitely nailed it and definitely helped to change your perspective.
Okay,
Yeah.
Louise? Hopefully that will help. And as you said, you'll get a call after the programme. So thanks very much for getting in touch, but obviously we will follow it up with you.
Thanks, Louise. OK, we've got Georgia next. Good morning, Georgia.
Morning.
Morning. What would you like help with, Georgia?
So from being a kid, I've had an absolute phobia of Furbies. I used to love them, and then even now, at my age now, I'm absolutely terrified.
OK, so do we just, are we able to show a picture of one on the screen to let other viewers know? You can close your eyes if you need to.
Yeah, I'm going to turn around.
OK, so this is what Georgia's got a phobia of. You might remember them from a few years ago. Those are the Furbies. So tell us.
Right, so Georgia...
that picture's gone now, Georgia.
Yeah, Georgia, you actually said that you used to love them and then suddenly you developed this phobia. What happened in between? Because obviously you've gone from loving them, you've totally changed how you view them. What do you think happened?
I'm not too sure. All I can remember, I'm sure I had a little nightmare. And I'm sure in my dream there's like trickled in size or something. And then the next day I had an absolute phobia of them. I told my mum not to fetch them near me, and then I had to get them out of the house.
Yeah, and that would do it, actually. So, and that is so common when it comes to fear of toys in particular, and dogs, funnily enough. However, is usually when a nightmare causes the issue. So, a couple of questions. So what actually caused the problem, first of all?
I'm not sure.
OK.
I've never really understood it. It's always been quite strange.
OK, well, to help you out with that, it was obviously the nightmare because one day you're OK with them, the next day that you're not. So it's how you perceive that nightmare. And as you said, you know, you imagine them tripling in size, which is very frightening for someone your age. So what I want you to consider is that the only dream that you've ever had?
I think so, of them.
Right, of them, but you've had other dreams, and obviously you know that dreams aren't real. So what I want you to consider in this situation, that you obviously love Furbies because you said you had loads of them. So this dream really made you frightened. But was it the Furbies, right, that were in your cupboard, or was it the dream that made you frightened?
The dream.
OK. And just like you've had dreams about other things, but as you get older, you can rationalise them as an adult and think, oh, that was just a dream. I'm glad that didn't happen, because dreams aren't real. So what you need to do is just consider shifting the blame from the Furbies, because, you know, you put your Furbies, presumably, in the cupboard that night, had the dream, and then you were frightened of them in the morning. But the Furbies were just in the cupboard. They didn't do anything different. They did what they always did. Right? And the only thing that's changed in this situation is not the Furby, but your perception of them because of something that wasn't real, which was a dream. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And also, just to finish off on that, so that's to help change perspective, but I really like to think about all the pleasure that not only that you got from those Furbies, but I'm sure that your family members bought you Furbies for Christmas and for birthdays, etc., and the pleasure that they got from those as well, so that you're actually shifting to see the good as opposed to the bad that the dream created and not the Furby.
Yeah, yeah.
Georgia,
well done.
As we showed the picture earlier, are you confident enough that we could show it and you might want to turn around and look at the screen?
No.
Really?
No.
OK.
What I'd like to consider, Georgia, is that obviously you looked at those Furbies for, I don't know, you know, days, months, even years, and you absolutely love them. And because of one dream that, you know, that dream could have lasted 5 minutes at the most. Because of that, that's changed your whole perspective. But I'd like to take you back to all those times when you looked at those Furbies and absolutely loved them.
Yeah.
And consider that, because that was a lot longer than maybe a 5-minute dream.
Yeah. And again, I think that I would love to be able to give you a call, Georgia, after the show, and I would love you to have a look at a Furby with confidence. Is that all right if we give you a call back?
Yeah, that's fine, yeah.
Fantastic.
Lovely.
Thank you, Georgia.
Thank you, Georgia.
They'll call you after the show. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Caroline's in Liverpool. Caroline, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So you've got a problem that you'd like the Speakmans to help you with?
Yeah, mine's flying. I've got a phobia of the door shutting, and there's no air on the plane. And that happened to me 30 years ago on an aircraft. And then I asked for I had a bad headache, and I took the headache tablet, and then I had a reaction to it, and I had a bad panic attack, and it's had a fear since.
So can I confirm, Caroline, prior to having this tablet and having the reaction to it, you were perfectly OK flying? I
was perfectly OK flying. I flew all over the place, Maldives, Sri Lanka.
Oh. Amazing.
Everywhere, Gran Canaria. with my children and when they were small.
So we can totally confirm that flying is actually not the problem, even though you're struggling with it. That is not
Yeah,
the
it's
problem.
not.
The problem
No,
is,
it's not the problem.
and as you mentioned, it was like the air disappearing in the cabin. Well, the first thing is that never happens, but that leads me to believe that if you had a reaction with this medication, did you struggle to breathe and were you hyperventilating?
I was, yes.
Right. You see, so what I want you to consider, as it stands right now, you're in that situation, you're on the plane, you had a headache, you take this medication, you think you're going to get better, but actually you get worse and you can't breathe. When you're in that situation, your brain goes into panic, and basically what it says is, if I survive this situation, I never want to be put in this situation again because it's horrible. And it will take in all your surroundings. And because you're on the plane, you actually blame the plane. So now the plane becomes a problem in the future. But what I want you to consider is all the flights that you had, never had an issue, and what actually caused the problem that day. What was it?
My anxiety through the medication, I would reckon.
Right, so but it was, taking it back, it was the medication. So the problem that you had that day was solely and utterly because of that medication. And I assume that you had, you know, that you're allergic to that medication.
Yes, I am now, yeah.
So can you follow? So can you follow that if you never have that medication again in your life, which I know you're not going to do, then the plane was never at fault?
The plane was never at fault, no. It's just I've associated the feeling of what happened to me on the aircraft.
Exactly, and that's what happens. However, when you can go, oh, actually, no, I got that wrong, and ask yourself the question, has an aeroplane ever let you down?
Never.
Has it always done what it wants to, what you wanted it to do?
It's always done, and I've enjoyed it. Love looking out the window of it and everything.
Well, you sound to me like a very fair lady.
Oh, yes.
You have to be fair and go, actually, yeah, I get it. It was
I've got one last thing to
misunderstanding.
ask you. Have you ever been on a plane, apart from this one event which was caused by the medication, have you ever been on a plane and not been able to breathe?
Never. No.
There you go.
See, Caroline, you don't want to miss out on another trip to the Maldives.
Just don't take the medication and all's good.
There
You'll be good.
I will do.
Oh, well done. Thank you. It's interesting.
You, Caroline.
It feels like today's were all about transference,
Yes,
really.
a lot.
They were all about
very much so.
transference.
They really were.
Unpicking it all, isn't it?
It is.
And,
And even with Louise, with the driving, once you can understand it, and that's part of the process. The part of the process is a phobia, by definition, is an irrational fear. When you can rationalise it and understand it, the emotion starts to change.
Yeah.
Right, amazing.
Step away from
You
it
guys
for
are
a second.
fantastic.
You are, honestly, I'm always in awe.
Thank you so much.